Start the recording now.
Yeah, started.
Okay, beautiful. So good evening, everyone. So we want to look at the SharePoint service as one of the Microsoft 365 service, and we want to take it a step further, looking at some advanced features and concepts. And as mentioned earlier, so we just use today to just do a kind of flip through the SharePoint itself, and then we'll look at some taking some feedback or expectations. So that will help us to guide on the approach to go with the project for the subsequent classes. So SharePoint is a Microsoft service. It's hosted on Microsoft, and it could be hosted on-prem. And it's simply a web-based application. So everything about SharePoint is a website. I mean, it has a backend, which is an SQL database. Okay, and it's designed for three core features: site, list, and library. Okay, this SharePoint is designed for three core features: site, list, and library. Okay, sites, okay, is basically web pages that should be consumed by users within the organization. Okay, so you have a full-fledged website, or so to say. However, it's an internal uh, site, and so it means that sites will obviously have what is called URL. The URL allows you to access the site. It usually has the default domain for that tenant. So when the tenant was created, it comes with what is called a domain, or root domain. Okay, so that root domain becomes the URL for that site, or the root site URL. That means that's the site, that's the URL where all other sites get mapped into. Okay, so for instance, if I go to the admin portal here, you can see I have tech tired dash admin .sharepoint.com. That's because I'm on the admin portal. If I go to any of the sites, I'll just open this. I don't know who has this. This is private. Okay, let's look at this. So looking at this site, you can see the URL says techtired-sharepoint.com. Okay, so the SharePoint URL root site, or the SharePoint root site, has a URL that bears the name of the default domain when the site was created. This can be changed. Okay, this can be changed by running PowerShell script. And okay, so you can probably want to change the name. You can do that. That's possible with SharePoint. Then on that, you now have what is called sub-sites. So you end up having sites slash the name of the site. Okay, so you have, let me see if any of these sites allows us to do that. Okay, so you can see this is a site, this is the root site. Power Automate project is a site, and allows us to access no, this is a document library. Now I want to cite. So if you look at this, so this is what I'm saying. So other site has the sites and then the name of the sites. Okay. Other site has the site and then the name of the sites. So it means that when you are on SharePoint, it's important you note the URL. Okay. You note the URL. You saw earlier was on the document library, the URL was completely different. Okay, so it's important you know the URL. It's also slightly different for OneDrive. Okay, you have the root site, and then you have the word personal. Okay, and then you have kind of the username of the user in the URL. Am I making sense? I'm making sense, please. Just thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Peter. So why am I taking my time to explain this? Because one of the key skill or thing you need to understand in SharePoint is the URL. Okay, the URL is very, very important. Okay, you can come across an issue and just by looking at the URL, you can know you are in the wrong place. No, that's not it. No, that's this and all of that. For instance, from the URL of a OneDrive site, you can know who the owner is if somebody say this site or this file was created by Jane. And Andrew said no, the site is owned by what do you call by Joy. Okay, you can say okay, let me have the what is it called, the URL for that file. From that file, you can settle that. I don't have to fight over that issue. By just looking at the URL, you can see that from this URL I can see Joy. That means you are correct. Or from this URL I can see James. That means I'm correct. Okay, so it's that simple when it comes to SharePoint URL. So I was talking about sites, okay, as one of the core components of SharePoint. The other two components we have on the second one, you have what is referred to as the document library. Okay, so everything I'm talking about sites, we'll look at it as well as we go on. So, and that will be our core discussion as we go on. Sites, everything around sites, around document library, and then around list. So list document library is the second core component in SharePoint. From the name document library, simply means a repository for hosting your documents. Okay, a repository for hosting your documents. So it means that in the document library, you store documents. I mean, document files. It could be any permitted files by the organization uploaded to SharePoint. Same thing also applies to OneDrive. Okay, so everything has to document resides in a document library. And from there, you can build permissions. You can build approval flows. You can build check-in, check-out settings and all of that for a document library. Then you have the lists, the Microsoft list. The list is the third core component. It's more of a database in SharePoint. Okay, if you want to kind of create something to store data, like a database kind of thing, okay, you can use a list to store the data in a list. It has all the features, all the CRUD feature you can create, you can edit, you can update, you can delete. And then you can also align the permissions for that particular list as well. Okay, and then all of that requires users to have what is called permissions. SharePoint is granular in the sense that every dot and what is it called now, and pieces requires you to have access or permission. Okay, you might even be the global admin, but do not have permission to a site. It's not given automatically. Okay, so that's something also that cuts across whether SharePoint sites, document library, or a list. Okay, and another thing also is the license requirements. The SharePoint requires you to have SharePoint Online Plan 1 or SharePoint Online Plan 2. So either of these will provide you with the SharePoint service. Okay, SharePoint Online Plan 1, SharePoint Online Plan 2. SharePoint Online Plan 1 comes with E1, Business Basic, Business Standard, Business Premium, and A1 licenses. Okay, while SharePoint Plan 2 can be purchased as standalone or part of application, part of subscriptions like E5 and E3. E5, E3. Okay, so if you have E5, you have E3, you obviously have SharePoint Plan 2. If you have other, obviously you're in SharePoint Plan 1. Now, what's the difference in terms of service? One key advantage is storage. Okay, one key advantage is storage. Storage. SharePoint Plan 2 has more storage than SharePoint Plan 1. Okay, SharePoint Plan 2 has more storage than SharePoint Plan 1. And it allows you to, wait, I'm trying to get to that page. Just to make sure I'm saying the right thing. Okay, E3, E5, A3, and A5. Okay, and then you have, okay, I think I listed them already. Okay, so I was talking about storage. So Plan 1 and Plan 2 do not offer the same storage. So for instance, if you have a Plan 1, you have your maximum storage is 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte, and that's all. Okay. But if you have a Plan 2, you can get as high as 25 terabytes, although there are conditions, which means that you should have at least 5 users assigned, at least 5 users assigned with the E5, with the SharePoint Plan 2 license. Okay, so if you have at least 5 users with that requirement. Aside that, you could have other, you could manually upgrade users from 1 terabyte to 5 terabyte just by going to and editing their storage, because they have an E5 license. Okay, then in terms of storage, SharePoint pulls your storage based on your, why is this guy opening like this? Okay, I'm on Chrome. Okay, I wanted to draw for us. So SharePoint pulls your storage based on the number of license you have. So you have, first, for having a SharePoint tenant, you are given 1 terabyte. Talking about SharePoint, everything I'm talking about is SharePoint. So for having a SharePoint subscription, you are given 1 terabyte. Now that 1 terabyte is to be shared amongst all the sites that you create. So if you create 100 sites, they will all share from that pool of 1 terabyte. Now, what else gives you additional storage? One, the number of licenses that you have. So if you have, okay, let me start from here. The number of licenses that you have, each amounts to 10 GB. Okay, each license that you have amounts to 10 GB. So I want to ask, based on this information, if I have 100 business standard license on my tenants, what's going to be my SharePoint storage? So type it in the chat. If I have 100 business standard subscription, what is going to be my storage size in my tenants? Somebody says 1 terabyte. Okay. Yes. 100 GB. So what I'm saying is, what is going to be the total storage for that tenant for SharePoint? If I have 100 100 subscription, 100 seat counts. Okay, so the answer is 1 terabyte, okay, plus 10 GB times 100, okay, being the number of license that I have. So that should give me 2 terabytes. Or let me break it down. That would be 1 terabyte plus 10 times 100. That's 1,000, right? So that's approximately 1 terabyte. So that will give us 2 terabytes. So that means the tenant is going to have 2 terabytes in general. Okay. So that's one method. Okay. Another method is to purchase a subscription called extra storage. It's called extra storage license. It's a license. Okay. Extra storage is basically used to add to the pool of license. Add to your storage pool. It doesn't do any other thing for SharePoint. Okay, so another, if I don't want to have 100 or I have 10 users, of course that will give me 10 times 10, that's 100. So I have 1.1 terabytes. Okay, so I now say, okay, no, I don't want to get 100 users assigned license. I just want to buy the extra storage. So I think it's priced 1 terabyte. So if you need 100 gig, you type 100 in the quantity. Okay, if you need 1 terabyte, you type 1,000 in the quantity of of uh, extra storage, and that will now add 1 terabyte to your storage. Okay, so you have these various options, either getting storage through user license or getting storage through um, um, the SharePoint license. So let me drop this link. I'll be dropping links for us throughout this class. Where is it? I kept it somewhere. I need to look for that um my I have this PowerPoint that has these direct links. Just copy and paste. I can't find it. Let's just move on. Then lastly, there what is called limits. SharePoint has limits in terms of storage. Okay, and the maximum storage that you can. So if let's say you want to even buy more more storage, you can't go beyond 25 terabytes. You can't go beyond 25 terabytes. But you need to get uh um you want to acquire more storage. Can't go beyond um 25 terabytes. So that's the limit. So we send this link. Let me send this link to us. Somebody said my voice was breaking. Is that true? So in the link I shared, maybe after the class, you can just keep the link somewhere. Keep the link with you, and then after the class, you can just review it. Okay, it's it provides more detail, but I think I've summarized everything on that. Okay, so I don't know. I think I didn't talk about OneDrive, but what can I say about OneDrive? OneDrive is personal storage, okay, for users. So that's where users can store their personal files. Okay, it's also hosted on SharePoint. Okay, it means that you can't have OneDrive without SharePoint. That's just basic. You can't have OneDrive without SharePoint. It's hosted on SharePoint, and it's designed to host personal files. Okay, so if you want to collaborate on files, then move those files to SharePoint. Okay, because OneDrive is designed for personal files. Of course, you can share them, but designed for personal. That means whatever list, library, whatever objects or parts you create, it's linked to that user. So if that user is deleted, license is lost, or the guy decided to do whatever it is, that object is connected to that user, and that file could be lost. The person will just be angrily sack an employee, remove their license, block and delete and delete the user. And what happens? They will start having issues with files that user had access to, or that user created and shared with the users. Okay, so that is also something that is a concern. Okay. And SharePoint is often referred to as SPO, while OneDrive is referred to as ODB. There is a difference between OneDrive for business and OneDrive personal. Okay, OneDrive for business is the one that has those licenses that we talked about. OneDrive personal is more of personal OneDrive. That's where you get to give. I think they give you, is it 5 gig, free 5 gig storage that comes to your personal accounts. Okay, so I think I've been able to summarize SharePoint and so let's take okay, somebody was asking me to explain the storage. Okay, so I was saying that SharePoint comes with uh, 1 TB. That is, if you have a tenant that has SharePoint, you automatically get 1 TB. Okay, 1 TB. As long as you have a license that has SharePoint. Then there are additional 10 GB per license that includes SharePoint. So maybe you have Business Basic or Teams Essential or Business Standard or Premium or E3, E5. All of that will give you 10 GB. of extra storage per the number of users that you have. Okay, so and I'll give us an example that if we have 50 users, that's 50 times 10, that is 500 GB. So it means that in the end, I will get 1.5 terabytes of storage, of SharePoint storage. Okay, and that storage is pooled by all sites. So it's not like it's specific for a particular site. Okay, and to conclude with that, you have the option to configure SharePoint in such a way that the storage, okay, if I go to settings, okay, and I go to storage, site storage limits, okay, if I click on it, it's set to automatic. So it says let sites use as much of your organization storage as they need. So it's automatically spread out, okay. But if I set it to manual and save, what that means is that this site, I can now go to this site, click on this site, and then go to, I think, settings, okay, and I'll see the option to okay, I think I need to set it to manual first. Site storage, manual, save. And let's go to active sites. Let's click on the site. Let's go to settings. Here in general, I'm not seeing that option. Let's refresh. So basically, if the site storage setting is set to automatic, every user will be given permission to or rather every site has access to create as many use as many storage as possible if you set to automatic. But if you set to manual, then you need to now come to the site in general tab and then look for storage limits, and you can edit it and choose the limit for maximum storage for this site, 1 GB. Okay. Sorry. So what that means that this site cannot use more than 1 GB. Maybe you have somebody that is maybe HR has decided to hold your money. You just give them 1 GB for their storage and they're complaining. What's happening? We can't upload file. So let's not save this and let's revert it back to automatic. Okay. So quickly, let's take, so I want us to do something today, which we're going to be using. We're going to be creating, for sites, we're going to create a hub site that uses the communications templates, okay? And they will create other sites. So it's like we want to build, okay, I think I'll just use this site, it's very easy. I don't have to stress myself to think far. So we assume that this is a Dangote tenant, just assuming. So we're going to create a site. You name it Dangote Group, okay, and then we now create subsites: Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement, Dangote what's that? Petroleum, or what's it called? And then what else? So we just kind of try to create. Then within those sites, we create departments. Okay, so we just want to build like a robust site with all of those connections and all that. Okay, so let's go straight to questions. If there are no questions, then we can start that. Can we have the slide? Yes, I'll share it, but what I have now is not the complete slide. I need to look for the other one. I can just share this one like that. But if you're on the Telegram group, I think you should have access to the site, to the slide. So let me look for that SharePoint. So let's please question. Question, then expectations, so that I think I've seen my. Where did I save it? Are we typing question?
Yes, there's a
Quiet.
question. There's a question. Someone asked if you can. I think the first one has to do with you sharing your slide, and the second one has to do with if we can invite external users to our SharePoint site.
Okay. Okay, the SharePoint list also share storage. Okay, let's have all the questions, please. I want us to have all the questions, then we can pick them one after the other. So the slide, I'm going to share it again. I'm trying to get everything, the complete slide. So I'm checking the WhatsApp for that. Not just seeing the one. Where is the two? The two, where are you? Okay. So I'm going to share this again on the WhatsApp. Okay. So I'm sending the slides. So that will allow us to read up, because I won't be discussing the slides any longer after today. So these tenants, do they have access to these tenants? So I've just sent the slides on the WhatsApp. think I should also send it to the Telegram as well. Sending file is not allowed. Okay. So I've sent the file to the send the file to the WhatsApp. So let's look at the questions that you have. So first question says, do we invite, please go do you mean how do we invite external user to our SharePoint site? Samuel Johnson, you mean how do we invite external user to our site? So I assume that's the question. You can let's react to your question. You can go there and just do a thumbs up if that's the case. So to invite external user to SharePoint sites. Now the option is depending on what you want them to have access to. Okay, so I talked about site, document, and list. So let's say you are referring to the site by saying SharePoint site. So you are referring to site. I'm just bringing that now. So if you want external users to have access to a site, then they need to have like a guest account on the tenants. Okay, meaning that you cannot access a site without signing. It's not possible. Okay, you cannot access a SharePoint site without signing in. So I can't give you a site or a site that I own and say, look at it as an external user, and the site will just open. It's not possible. Okay, you either have a business account or a personal account. One of them, you need to have one. That will be used to authenticate you before you are given access to a SharePoint site. So can you invite external user to a SharePoint site? The answer is yes, you can invite an external user. However, the external user must have a business account or a Microsoft personal account. If I sent an invite to your Gmail and that Gmail does not have a Microsoft account created attached to it, it's going to require you to sign in. So you may end up having to create one. And if you refuse to create one, then you can't have access to the sites. Okay, so you can share, but accessing it is another hurdle on its own, which requires you to have an account. There is no anonymous access to SharePoint sites. There's no anonymous access to SharePoint sites. Okay, so if I've done justice to that question, everybody, please go and do thumbs up on that number one question that has been asked. Let's do that quickly. But I've not done justice to, not seen any reaction. We have over 20 persons here, and I only have how many? 3 reactions. This is just to make sure that you are following me, okay? So I'm not just I'm doing a broadcast here. So let's look at the next question then. It says, Does SharePoint list also share in the SharePoint storage, or how much storage does SharePoint list consume when used as a database for Power Apps, e.g. inventory app or Power Apps? Okay, so SharePoint list also is part of your SharePoint storage. Okay, it's part of your SharePoint storage. Okay, so in fact, there's no free, there's no free, what is it called? There's no free service. So everything is part. If you delete your site, delete a file, and it's in the recycle bin, that recycle bin storage is also taken from your overall SharePoint storage. Okay, if you decide to place files on hold, so that when users delete the files are shown to be deleted, but they are preserved somewhere. That storage is also eating from your SharePoint storage. So as long as storage is concerned, once you create something, it is consuming your SharePoint storage. And everything that we're talking about, document, file, list, site, they all use or reside on SharePoint. So they use up SharePoint storage. Okay. So if I've done justice to that, please thumbs up on that question as well. Only one person. Okay, so next one says, what's the difference between SharePoint and OneDrive? SharePoint is, the usage. Okay, let's start with the usage and the application on when to use. Okay, so SharePoint, okay, from the name, share point. So SharePoint is designed for collaboration. That is for two or more users. Okay, so when two or more users are involved in, accessing a particular file or collection of files, SharePoint is the appropriate approach to go. That's because it allows you to manage the permissions properly. And if a user leaves the organization, it has no impact on that file being worked upon. Okay, so that's usage. Then OneDrive is designed to host personal files. OneDrive is designed to host personal files. That's just basic information about OneDrive. Of course, you can also create your list and create a shared library in OneDrive and share with external users and all of that. Okay. And so when to use, so when it involves users, then when you involve multiple users, then you go for SharePoint. When it involves private files, confidential files, all those things, the OneDrive will be the appropriate thing to do. Okay, because if the person hosting the files in OneDrive does not share, no other person can have access to it. Okay. Ah, wow. Have I done justice to your question? Can you send an invite to? No. Okay, you can't share an invite from SharePoint admin. From the SharePoint admin, you can only see internal users. Okay, you can only see internal users. So to even start sharing, that will not be possible. So let's see. Let's see if it's possible. Let's see whether it's going to allow me to invite. So you can see no result found. Okay, so you cannot share um you cannot share a site with external user from the SharePoint admin. Okay, that's not possible. And the reasons are basically because of security. Okay, because here you can give anybody access to a site from here. Okay, even if you are not the one that owns the site, you can, as long as you are the admin. And that's why if you are an admin and you don't have access to a site, you can give yourself access to that site before you can access it. If you don't do that, then you won't be able to access the site. Any other question? Limitations or you encounter with SharePoint. Normal limitation with SharePoint is you can't have this, the storage is capped at 25 terabytes. So if you're into movie production and or animation, you are going to be exceeding that limit. You may need to think other options. Okay. SharePoint cannot host more than 25 terabytes. Okay. And that is when you look at the extra storage option. Then OneDrive as well cannot go beyond the 25 terabytes option as well. So everything is capped at that limit. Okay, some customers often confuse that the document says I have 25 terabytes. No, the document says that's the highest you can have. So you correct them to let them know. In that 25 terabyte is the highest, is the max you can have, not what you actually have. Okay, because I don't know whether it's the UI guys did a terrible job with that. They will say two what is it called? Maybe you have 4 terabytes. So now of tenant or SharePoint tenant storage, you now say two, and you have used maybe 2 terabytes. You now say two of 25 terabytes. You know, I'm like, but this is saying two of, but of course, uh, it says that, but that's not what the case is. Let me see if I can show us that. Um, so I'll come back to that. Some of these sites, I don't know. I don't have permission, so there are limits to what I can do. So I was asking that um, I think this for Rafiah. I don't know the mentees. Do they have access to these tenants?
Yes, they do. That's where the account is created.
Okay. Because we have an assignment between now and next class, which is to create. So I don't know how we're going to do it. So I'm going to draft an organogram. Okay. So that organogram is just trying to. It may not be. It may not be real, but more like a fictitious Dangote group. So we're going to have like 4 subsidiaries. Okay, we look for one in 4 subsidiaries, and in this 4 subsidiaries, we'll have 3 departments in each of them. So each department represents a subsite. Okay, and each subsidiary represents a site, SharePoint site. Then we'll have a Dangote group, which are going to create now. Dangote group is going to be a hub site. So the idea is to demonstrate hub sites, see all the features, and basically what it allows us to do. Okay. So I want to create the site to be a communication site because a lot of features that we want to use, and this is more appropriate for us to do that. There are other options, other templates here. If you go to browse more sites, you have options to create a site. So if you choose a team site here, the site does not have a Microsoft 365 group. Okay. And the implication is that the site is unique to SharePoint. Okay, the site is unique to SharePoint. So you can see no Microsoft 365 group, no Outlook inbox, no shared calendar, no OneNote notebook or planner, just SharePoint sites, document library list, and all of that. So when you are creating your subsidiary, this is the guy you are going to choose. So take note of that. We don't want a site that has Microsoft 365 group. Okay. Then if you want to create a site Microsoft 365, you just click on it from here. Okay, this one. So let's click on communication. Let's look for something that we can use. Let's look for a simple template that is going to relate with what we want to achieve. I think we can use this. Let's see. What should we use now? Let's go for this. Oh, one home page, 4 additional pages. No. Just one home page, yeah. So use that. Dangote. So your site name is automatically used as your site URL. So you can see sites/Dangote group. If you want to change that, you can click on this and change it to something else. Okay. So you can see it says Teams. Maybe that's what you prefer. I prefer to use that site. Then site owner is okay. So that will be the site owner. Language is English, time zone. Let's look at Central Time. Let's use that. Create sites. So I believe what I just did now, is there anybody that cannot do that? I think you should be able to do that by now. Separate those that joined newly, or they are new in this class. Every other person should be able to do the site, creating the sites. That's the basic feature or step or task in on that SharePoint site. So that should be so this is the site here. Okay. And what do we want to do? We want to promote the site to be a hub site. So I just check it and go to hub and click on register as hub sites. Okay. So once we do this, we can the subsidiaries, we are going to create 4 subsidiaries. We are going to associate them with a hub. Okay, so let's create so the hub site name Dangote group. People can so so let's have volunteers, or I should make it open. If you are volunteering, it means that you're going to be the one to create the site for us. Okay, and you're going to create the site for us and create the sub site. Subsidiaries. Please help me with names. So, oh, I need to type this again. Subsidiaries will have Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement, Dangote Dangote what now? Floor. Thank you. And then you can now add the last guy, Dangote PMS. Let's call it Dangote Petroleum. Thank you. I think Dangote Refinery is okay. Refinery. So we have 4 subsidiaries. Okay, then in each subsidiary, we're going to have departments, HR, IT, marketing, and I think operations, yeah, into production. So these are core departments. So let's have it like this. So let me post this on the WhatsApp as well. So Dangote Group will be our hub sites. Then department will be our sub sites. Subsidiary will be a site without M365 group. Okay, so here's this on the Telegram as well. So make it plain. So that means I won't put anything here. If I put anything here to restrict, okay, so the idea is, you want to make sure that it's not everybody that can just be creating sites and associating into the hub sites. So you can create a security group here. So since they are not volunteer, we'll leave it open. So once you have a security group, so let's see. So we have some, we'll need this group. So maybe we should just create it now. Dangote team. Let's call it that. We need it somewhere along, I already wrote conversation to the group. No, it's not configure anything. So we need that when the time comes. So we just add what's happening? Okay, so just add members. So leave this blank. Let's save it. So successfully saved. So this is now a hub site. Close. Let's launch it. Okay. So looking at this here, you can see our hub sites. Okay. So let's play around the templates because that's going to be applied to other sites that are associated with it. Okay. So who is going to handle that? Because these are the things that we've done before. So who's going to volunteer to handle the templates for us? Somebody says stock at register on the sub site as hub site. Yes, so I just kept that running. So it's not stocked. I was not doing anything there. I'm not going to create the site for us. So we're going to create. So how many sites are we going to be creating? 4 sites and 4 times, wow, 4 times 4, 16 sub sites. Okay, so that's 4 sub sites under each site. That's 16. Okay, so we'll use that to build like a navigation kind of stuff. And we'll also create other things like, okay. So that's one. Then secondly, we're going to be doing eyes on sites. So then we play around the permission and everything, block some places. So we need to have people into departments. Okay. So I need volunteer space so that we can. Otherwise, we just run this thing dry. It won't really make sense. We're going to have like IT, marketing, and operations. So so let's have Francis. So let's have Francis in HR. Who is somebody say customer service, and that's HR now. Lovina. Let's look for Lovina. So we want to create more like an organization in SharePoint. And we want to demonstrate this so that you can be testing it on your end. SharePoint is built around permission and access, and that's the key selling thing about SharePoint. You can't just have access to anything without uh, that access given to you. So Awul Ibrahim, you'll be in IT. So we need people in operations and what's the other one? What is the other one? Guys, when I help my memory, okay, marketing. Some Tochuku, so we'll put in IT. Okay. So we need marketing. I think we have 2 persons in HR, 2 persons in 2 persons in HR, 2 persons in IT. So we need 2 persons in marketing and 2 persons in operations. Bruno. Bruno will be in marketing. Yes, who else? This group is too quiet. So what's happening? Am I the only one here? So let's have Peter in okay, Michael. Okay, let's add Michael in operations. Michael, let me see. Michael Mary. Operations. Um, Samuel. Operations. Finance department. Okay. We just want to do we're supposed to even do 3. Or just change it to 4. So let's leave it at 4. Steven, let's ask Steven to marketing, and then subsequently we can add others. Okay, so you can add yourself in any department. Just edit. I think you have seen how I did that. Um, just edit your departments. Did I want to add again? Ooh, Steven. Market. Okay. So let's go to identity and let's quickly create a group. So I'm going to be using the group to manage who has access to what. Uh, come on. I've done this now. I've done this. Okay. I did this for the other accounts. How many accounts I have on my list now? You know that the authenticator will be crying like this. A moment, guys. Please ask your question. Let me just quickly. Trying to minimize our next week's activity. The next class will just associate uh, and move on to the next. And just to mention, when you create a site, know that this template you are seeing here, they affect what the site can do. For instance, this document center, this is centralized document management. It's very very restrictive. For instance, you can't share with external user and has some very funny restrictions. So those templates, you have to be very careful when you um so let's create groups. Yeah, security group. Down go to let's just use DGT and dash HR. Why is he asking me to be assigned? I want it dynamic. What's happening? What's happening? I can't create dynamic group on these tenants. Someone has pressed spoil. Hmm. Aussie license. Since I'm very funny.
Oh, well done, bro. Let me check your role. Let me see the role that was assigned to your account. 1 second.
Okay, thank you. And don't give me user admin role, abi?
No.
Ah, my license is even student. I should be having faculty license, not student.
We can just update it. You are a global admin. So you should be
Yeah.
able to do that. You're a global admin.
Okay, so I don't know why it's grayed out. Let's do a search. Which one should I close now? Mm-hmm. And it's license. License. Not as much.
That means no Azure AD Premium license. That's it.
But I saw a trial the other time.
Yeah.
I saw something trial P1. I'm going to solve here now. I was not listening. Though. So let's get a P2 trial. Oh, why now? Okay, I think, how about P1? Why am I not seeing P1? So I think that option, maybe I'll just demonstrate that on a different thing. I don't know. So second thing I want us to do is we're going to create a requisition using SharePoint list requisition system. So we'll have the products, quantity, and what is requester. No, there's no price. Requester and approver, something like that. Okay. So that would be with lists. So we use a list for that. So let's take questions and using lists and approval workflow. Where is it? Workflow. Okay, so to have our hub sites, someone will help us to design the site. to add the logo, and I think I should turn this on. No. Is that Dangote color? I think this one. Accent color. The main color should be this. Okay. Should be this. Color should be. We want to use this extended for our header. Background should be this. No images. Site title visibility. We want the site to be visible. And site logo. To add that logo alignment to be in the middle, the left. Okay. So what's don't have a logo yet. Somebody will help with that logo. Then navigation. We want to have a cascading menu because of the sub-sites and everything that we've been having. Wait, did I save that? Okay. Then the footer. That's fine. Then want to have a logo. Let's look at what we have here. Just this. So I think we can add a web part so that we can just stop. Where should we? Let's. Can I remove this? Should I leave this? Should I? So let's add it. Okay, this is fine. It should be something like this. So here, let's have starts. Let's add one more location. Okay. So let's stop here today. So we've not published this yet. So if you go to the site, you won't see all of these changes. Still save as draft. So we need a logo. So somebody will help us with the logo. Yeah, somebody said I should assign. So, but I said I need volunteers. Okay. I need volunteers. I need someone to create okay, so some of us I assign us to marketing and HR. So those of us are assigned to marketing and HR. So we have 4 sites to create. Okay, let's just do that on this call and then we can call it today. So, but the sub-sites, if you have assigned to HR, help us to create the sub-sites. We are assigned to IT, help us and create the sub-site for IT. We are assigned to marketing, help us to create sub-site for marketing. If you are assigned to operations, help us to create that. So let's create a site for Dangote Sugar. Primary admin. Let's add myself. So know the time zone. This one is in Alaska. So that will be the last site, more of a subsidiary. So those of us that will be creating the subsite, you need to carry out one more step before proceeding to do that. Let me just use this guy. Okay, so we have the no. So we have this 4 sites. We have hub association. So it's let's do one first. Dangote Cement. Go to hub, associate with your hub, and then look for your hub, Dangote group. Same. Then can do all that together now. Flour, refinery, sugar. So let's open the Dangote group. Okay, so we have Dangote group functioning. Let's go to this sub site, the hub sites. So you can see it has picked the template of the hub sites. Okay. So to be able to create the sub sites, click on those of us that in HR. So you're going to do for cement, flour, refinery, and sugar. So click on cement, go to membership, site admin. Click on add site admin, type your name, Bruno. Which one now? So you know the one that is your this one, just click on it and then add. Okay. So that will give you access to the site, and you can open the site and then click on new. There is no subsites. Okay, so we need to allow that. So that has been enabled. So we can go back to just allow this to save. So look at the URL. It has tenant settings.aspx. Okay, so I think that is done. Let's refresh. New. It's not there yet. So let's allow this some time. You guys not downloading now. Site content. subsites. No, subsites, okay. Then this would be marketing. Okay. URL. I use the same thing. Okay, so you don't need to change anything here. Not change anything. Just display this site on quick launch bar of the parent site. Okay. We don't want that. Display this site on the top link bar of the parent site. We also don't want that. Use the top link bar for parent. Okay. Okay, so I think if there are no questions, we can stop here today. So
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Yomi. Thank you
welcome. So
for
yeah,
wonderful
so
section.
just one more last thing. So those of us that I assigned to marketing, to IT, to operations. So help us go to each of these sites. Just just run a search for Dangote, okay, and create the departments in, okay, accept this. So create the department in each of these for the what's it called, for the sites. So you're going to create sub sites that will serve as departments. So this is more, we're in a sub site now. You can see the site is Dangote Cement and it's marketing. So you can see it still shows the hub site, which is the main site. Okay, of course you can change this to show cement, Dangote Cement marketing. What's it called? Department. You can just edit that. Come on. Okay, so you can change it to, okay. So let's make sure we do that. So next class we can just basically work on the navigation and the web parts. Okay, so that we'll complete that in an hour. We can move on to lists. Okay, so that'll be all. Thank you, everyone. Stopping my screen share now.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yomi, for that wonderful and interactive section. That was a great one. At least we have learned how to create a communication site and a subsite. So we'll be taking one question because we have had enough time on the section. So Busayo, your hand is raised. Can you ask your question? And make it brief, please.
Okay, thank you for the thank you for the class. Actually, I understand. Understand how I think to listen. So under the issue, I want to ask. Hello, can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
Under each question, under each Google group, you have create we have different different under the group we have different subsidiary. So under the subsidiary we have we now create subsites under, for example, now Dangote cement under the group. So under Dangote cement, we have in the department inside the cement. So that's why you would like to ask us to do.
Yes. So you create a sub-site to represent each department under each subsidiary.
Okay, I think I'm following. You are doing that.
So we can call it a day. If you have other questions,
Yes.
drop it on the WhatsApp or maybe Telegram. And we can so please I'll try and monitor this by maybe by Wednesday, so that best thing, just do it after this class so that you don't forget. Okay. Thank you everyone, and bye.
Thank you, Yomi. Bye, everyone.